This is a training video on the Solveig video splitter, although I prefer to call it a video trimmer because it's really what it does. I want to be clear that this is not an editing program. It does not do music, it doesn't do effects, doesn't do fade-ins, fade-outs, but what it does do, it does it very well, and I highly recommend it. The sole purpose of this program is to take your long multi-gigabyte files that have lots of dead space. Say you're in a race car and you're sitting on the starting grid for 20 minutes and you want to cut that out. That's what this does. You can cut out the beginning, the end, the middle, pieces in between, and what it does is it stitches it all together, and even better yet, it doesn't recompile the file. So the file is the exact same quality. It's literally just stitching the original file together. So it's great for reducing the file size of your original files, because as we all know, high definition files are very, very big and can eat up hard drive space. So let me show you how this works. You can either do File, Open Media File. Another way to do it is Input. Click on that and that opens the same box. But what I prefer to do is to drag a file in. It makes it so much easier. Just drag it into this video play area. So let me explain what we're seeing here. This now tells me what this file we're looking at, all the specifications, the audio, the video, the bit rate, how long it is, and then this output is how you're going to output it. Right now we don't have anything set, and I'll get to that in a second. This is your video preview area, and you have your play, you have your pause, and one frame ahead for one frame ahead, one frame back, and your audio for the preview. And then down here, these are things you can turn on and off. You've got your storyboard is what they call it, and then below it is your audio, and this shows you the audio that's going along with the video. Now you can turn all of this stuff off. I can turn the storyboard off, I can turn the audio off, so it's all configurable. So let me go ahead and dive in, and I'm going to show you how this thing works. So in this scene, what I want to do is cut out a lot of the middle area. I want to show him starting the car, so I'm going to forward this thing until he goes to the button. It's kind of hard to see, so I'm going to use my mouse zoom, and I'm going to zoom in. So all I'm doing is I'm scrolling up with my little wheel on my mouse, and in fact I can actually move it to where I think he's probably going to start it there. So I'm going to move it back a little bit. In fact, I can go frame by frame if I want to do it right here, and to get it, that's going to take too long. Let's go ahead and go this way. Okay, so that's where I want to start this video, or I want to cut out everything before that. So I'm just going to do a mark. Here's a little mark right here. So I just click that and it adds a mark. So now I'm going to go and I'm going to go to where he shuts the engine off. And that is somewhere in here, and I can probably tell by the waveform. So I'm going to zoom out with my mouse, and I see by the waveform it's somewhere in here. Sure enough, there it is. And right there, he turns it off. Okay, so I'm going to put a mark right there. And now I'm going to come over here and go where he actually starts it and goes on the racetrack. Right there, that's, you can kind of tell by the audio waveform that's where he's going to start it, and sure enough that's where his hand's going. So I'm going to do a mark right there, and then I'm going to go to the end, so when he starts to go off the race. So now he's in the pits. Okay, let's stop it there. So I put a mark here. So all I've done is I've got marks. They don't really mean anything. They're just marking points. And this is where the magic happens. So this beginning section I want, because that's where he's starting the engine. And this area I do not want, because this is where he's just sitting there doing nothing. So I'm going to put a down thumb. And what I've just done, and you can see that it's now gone dark. And so that means I'm telling the program I do not want this section. And now this section is where he's actually racing on the track. And I do want this. But on this area, it already is dark because I didn't put a marker all the way to the end. So it already knows that I want to stop right here. So when I do output, it gives me an option. I can either save it as the original format. Now in this program, you can only save it as the way it started. That way there's no recompiling or recompression. But you can also do just the video track or just the audio track. And so that's a nice thing to do. And also this program does batch filing or batch queuing, which is an awesome thing. And basically if I were to click that and hit save, nothing would happen until I actually go in and say, okay, I want you to do all of these these files all at once. So I can do the exact same thing to another file and add it to the batch. So and then you can go and have your coffee or go have lunch, and then it'll compile each separate file doing whatever you told it to do for each separate file. So a nice powerful feature. So I'm just going to go ahead and say call this test, and I'm not going to do it as a batch. I'm going to just save it right now live, and I want you to see how fast this is. This started out as a 3.4 gigabyte file, and now because I've cut all of this out, and because it's not recompiling anything, it's just literally just stitching this together with this area, you can see how fast this is. And so this is the power of this program. So you can cut out beginning, middle, end, and it really can get you out of a bind as far as saving a lot of file space on your hard drive. And now I'm going to talk about some of the advanced features of this program. If you go to Tools, Batch Manager, you'll see the Batch Manager that I was mentioning briefly before. If I were to trim a file and instead of saving it directly, and I would click that checkbox that said Save to Batch File, this is where you'd see all the projects waiting to be trimmed. And so once you really don't, there's nothing to do in this program. It's mainly just to show you the list of things to be waited to be done. So you would go to Tools, Batch Manager, Start Batch Processing. But what I want to talk about in depth right now is the Join Manager, which is a little mini program in itself. And what it does is it just simply joins files together. It can be your trimmed files or your raw files. Say you've got a 1-minute file and a 2-minute file, and you just want to put them all into maybe make a 10-minute file. You just simply start loading up, and then when you're finished loading, you just hit cancel. So I chose 2 different video files, and you can change the order. You move it up or move it down, and once you're ready to go, you simply hit this green button and hit save, and what it does, it just simply stitches all of those files together with no loss in quality. And yeah, obviously because it's not an editing program, there's no you can't do fades or music or anything like that. But if you simply want to upload something to YouTube and all of the best of each file, this is the way to go. And it's called the Join Manager, and just another benefit of this great program.